Hi guys and welcome. We are going to be working through a 30-minute flow class today focused fully on opening up, releasing through the hips. We'll get started right off the bat, lying down on our back bodies. Bottoms of your feet together, knees wide, your hands can be wherever feels good for you today. You can close your eyes here. And as you deepen and sink into your breath, draw your breath all the way down into your pelvis. And with every exhale, if you could imagine releasing a little bit more tension and maybe the knees fall a tiny bit closer to the ground. So inhale, direct the breath down into the hips. And exhale, let the knees fall a little heavier. 2 more breaths like that. Good. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, bend your right knee only into your chest. Keep your left leg as is. Your hands are going to reach up and try to catch either your ankle or your right heel. Half happy baby. Stack your right foot on top of the knee and then pull the knee down towards the ground beside you. I like to use both hands here. I feel like it just helps me keep my foot stacked. Otherwise the foot wants to really push out to the side. And then just draw the heel straight down towards the ground. Your left hip is going to want to start to lift. So push or ground that left hip down as you continue to draw the right knee down. Try to relax that left hip flexor, the left hip in general. Take an inhale and exhale, release the legs, switch sides. Left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze, your right leg falls back to where it was. Hold on to that left foot, stack it on top. Draw the foot down towards that knee. And at the same time, ground your right hip down. Keep that left foot stacked. One more breath, inhale. And exhale, we release. Good. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Rock up and down the spine until you come to your seat. Swing your legs back and make yourself come to tabletop, hands and knees. We inhale, arch the back, our good old cat cows. Exhale, round the back, chin to chest, curl it all in. Inhale, deep arch in the back, looking up. And exhale, we round and guide it in. Once more, inhale, arch it up. And exhale, round it in. Neutral spine, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. So I'll run through a few Surya Namaskar Bs or a variation of it. It's not going to be the full version. Lift your heels up when you feel ready to. Bend your knees, step, hop, or walk your feet towards the top of the mat. This first round will go nice and slow. Take a halfway lift with an inhale. And exhale, fold your torso down. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling, deep breath in. And exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana, mountain pose. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Reach your hands up towards the sky. Settle down deeply here. Make sure you can see your toes in front of your knees. Forward fold, take an exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. And step back to plank, exhale. We'll hold for this first one for the inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga, bend your elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog, inhale. And exhale, down dog, carry the hips back. Step your right foot in between the hands, lower your left knee, low crescent lunge. Inhale, lift the arms up. One more breath. Exhale, lower your hands down, step it back to plank. Inhale, Chaturanga. Exhale, bend your elbows. Cobra or upward facing, inhale. And exhale, down dog. Step your left foot forward, lower the right knee. Inhale, low crescent lunge. Lower your hands down. Next breath out, step to plank. Inhale, Chaturanga. Exhale. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale, down dog. So we'll move through that just a little bit quicker, and we won't lower our back knee to the ground in those lunges. Lift your heels, bend your knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. And fold it down, exhale. Sit low into your chair pose, Uttanasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, sit low, chair. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. And exhale, step or shoot it back, Chaturanga. Bend your elbows. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your right foot forward, just coming to a lunge for an inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga. Plant your hands, step back and lower. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot forward. Lift your hands to the sky. Next breath in. Exhale, Chaturanga. Plant your hands, step back and lower. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Pause here. We'll do this one more time, but instead of a lunge, we'll come to a warrior one. Lift your heels, bend your knees, step or hop to the top of the mat, halfway lift. And fold, exhale. Chair pose, Uttanasana. Bend and lift. Exhale, Tadasana. Once more, bend your knees, Uttanasana, chair. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Chaturanga Dandasana. Step or shoot the feet back. Bend your elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Step your right foot forward. Virabhadrasana, warrior one. Lift your arms up. Back heel is down. Pull that left hip forward. Chaturanga. Exhale, plant the hands. Step back, lower. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot forward, right heel down, warrior one. Inhale, pull that right hip forward. Exhale, Chaturanga, plant your hands, step back, lower. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Pause here. One more breath. Lift your right leg to the sky, take an inhale, open up your hip, bend your knee nice and high. Make sure your chest stays facing that left leg. Pressing the heel down, lifting that right knee up. Take an inhale. Exhale, step your right foot in between the hands and lower your left knee towards the mat. Bring your left foot to the right edge of your mat. And then just adjust, make sure that your left knee feels comfortable here. If you need to, you can always fold your mat over twice for a little more support. Right elbow to the right thigh bone. Left arm lifts to the sky. Take an inhale. Stay here with the legs and try to lower your right hand to the ground on the inside of that right foot. At the same time, you're scooping the right bum cheek underneath you. Roll your chest open. If it feels good, you can always bend a little deeper into that right knee. Take one more inhale. And exhale, walk your hands to the left edge of the mat until you're in front of your left knee. Straighten the right leg, flex your right toes up, tuck your left toes under, and then push your hips all the way to rest on your left heel. Right toes stay up to the sky, and extend your arms forward. Let your forehead drop towards the ground. If you want to go a little deeper, you can always untuck the left toes, keeping the right toes facing the ceiling, so don't let them cave in. Keep rotating them up to the sky, pushing the hips back and really extending the torso forward. Keep your fingertips on the ground and palms lifted, so really engaged in the arms, elbows lifted. I actually prefer to keep my left toes tucked. I feel like I get a little deeper into that right hip. Take one more breath. Thanks. Now walk your hands in. Slide your right knee to the ground, and your knees can already be a little further apart from one another. Frog. Start to walk your feet out and walk your knees out, lower to your elbows. Your knees, try to stay at a 90-degree angle. So really notice if you're pulling your hips super far forward, and try to line up your hips with your kneecaps. So a nice straight line from the left all the way to the right knee. At any point, you can always lower your chest down to the ground. And say if your hips are quite high off the ground, probably don't lower your chest to the ground because it causes you to pull the hips forward. And again, we're trying to keep them stacked here for this one. Two more breaths. Keep your elbows on the ground. Walk your knees in first, nice and slow, and then walk up to your hands. A second there. Turn back to the top of the mat, plant your hands, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. Walk your feet to about mat's distance and angle your toes out. Push your chest towards in between your legs here. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, Malasana at the back of the mat, walk your hands to your feet, bend your knees, and drop your hips low, hands to heart center, palm to palm, chest lifting up, knees rolling wide. Two breaths. Reach your hands to the sky as you stand all the way up. Take an inhale. Exhale, pull the hands back to heart center, bend your knees, Malasana. Inhale, press up. Exhale, sink down. Once more, inhale, press up. And exhale, we sink down. Walk yourself back forward to a plank. Take an inhale. Walk your feet a little closer to one another. Chaturanga, exhale. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lifts. Inhale. Open up your hip, bend your knee to the sky. Right kneecap stays forward, chest stays facing that right leg. Full inhale. Step your left foot forward in between the hands and lower your right knee. Right foot moves off to the left edge of your mat, and then come up to this half kneeling position. Left elbow to left thigh, right arm to the sky. Tuck that left hip underneath you. Keep the engagement, trying to open up your hips to that right edge of your mat, and then lower your left hand to the ground on the inside of your foot, maybe bending a little deeper into that left knee, but scoop your left butt cheek underneath you. Take 2 more breaths here. Walk your hands over to that right edge of your mat. As you do so, straighten that left leg. Flex the toes high. Hips push all the way to rest on your right heel. And extend your arms as far forward as they can go. And then just notice the left toes are trying to curl in. Keep your toes as far up. If you can even imagine turning them to face the other side of your mat. Don't let them curl forward. And if to get lower you're compromising that, then come up. It doesn't matter how low your chest is going here. You want to keep those left toes facing up. Two breaths. Walk your hands back up. Standing straddle fold. So turn the left toes until the foot plants flat on the ground. Hands will support you to step your right foot to the back of the mat. Toes facing the same direction. Take a halfway lift. Inhale. And then exhale, fold towards the ground. Hands can go wherever you'd like them to go here. If you have an inversion in your practice and you feel strong, take a few moments to be there. Two more breaths. Walk yourself back towards the top of the mat. Bend your left knee, turn your left toes forward. Step it back to plank. Inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga, bend the elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale, down dog. One more breath. Lift your right leg to the ceiling. Inhale. Keep your legs straight, but open up the hips. You're doing the splits in the air here. Push that left heel down. Left knee stays facing forward. Really try to get as much height in that right leg as you can. Take an inhale. And exhale, step the right foot forward in between the hands. Drop your left heel to the ground. Warrior two, lift your chest up. I've done this a few times, but again, that reminder always, left foot parallel to the short edge of the mat, right toes facing forward. Right elbow to right thigh, extended side angle, left hand can reach to the sky here. Scoop the right hip underneath you and try not to just rest on that right leg, so you keep the engagement in the core. Lower your right hand to the ground on the inside of that right foot. Keep tucking the right hip underneath you. Two breaths. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, walk your hands to the back of the mat. Skandasana. Flex your right toes off the ground. Left toes turn slightly to the back of the mat as you bend your left knee and sink into your hips. Now, being really aware here in this arm variation, a lot of knees try to collapse forward. So engage your glutes, roll the knees as far open and as wide apart from one another as they can go. And then stick your booty back, walk your hands forward. Spider those fingertips. Right toes stay facing the ceiling. Left knee stays as close to the back of the mat as possible. Two more breaths here. And we walk our hands in, bending both knees, coming to a goddess squat in the center of the mat. Lift the chest up, hands slide onto our thighs. Toes are angled out. They don't have to be super far angled out, it'll be tougher to balance. And most of us don't have that ability to rotate fully like so. And when we just move our feet like that, a lot of the times our hips can't match that rotation. There's very few people I know who can fully come into middle splits or even further than that. So Turning the toes slightly forward, finding that support. Take an inhale here. Let yourself sink into the arms. And then exhale, drop your left shoulder, look to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale, drop the right shoulder, look to the left. Inhale through center. Now, if you can settle deeply here, just on the hands, and you feel a deep stretch in your hips, stay here. But you have the option to lower to your elbows. You're super low. Your hips are gonna drop a little deeper, most likely in that variation. Push your arms against the inner edges of your legs. You're pressing them as wide open as they can go here. And hold and breathe. 2 more breaths. Push down into the feet, engage your glutes to stand all the way up. Bend your right knee, step to the top of the mat. Feet are about hips distance apart. Take an inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, chair pose, bend your knees, hands come to heart center. And just hold there. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, step your feet to touch, widen your knees, and sink your bum down as close to your heels as they can go. Not on the ground, they're hovering. So your heels might have to lift in this variation, and that's okay. Now, really wiggle yourself in between your inner thighs. And the option 1 is to extend those arms forward, or you can extend them back and see if you can hold your hand here behind the heels and pull the head towards the ground. Knees hug right up tight against your shoulders. 2 breaths. Take an inhale. And exhale, plunge your hands, step or shoot it back, chaturanga. Feel free to make your way through a crow pose along the way if that is something in your practice. We'll meet in down dog for a few breaths. Two more breaths here. If you're not in down dog, start to make your way there. And then when you're ready, lift that left leg up towards the sky. Legs straight, roll your hip open, and then lift that leg up as high as it can go. So in this variation, I like to push my chest back even further, and that kind of helps me counter and find a little more lift in that left leg. Right kneecap stay forward here. Take an inhale. Exhale, step your left foot in between the hands. Warrior 2. Lift your torso up. Open your arms wide. Take a full breath in. Exhale, left elbow to left thigh. Right arm to the sky in this version of extended side angle today. Tuck the left hip underneath you. Full breath in. Lower your left hand to the ground, the inside of the left foot. Keep your hips underneath you. Knees rolling open, chest rolling open. Take an inhale. Exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat, Skandasana. Turn your right toes to the back of the mat. Bend your right knee, flex your left toes up off the ground. Squeeze your glutes, press the knees as far open as they can go. Stick the hips back and then extend the arms forward. Two breaths here. And we bend into that left knee, walk your hands and come up to that goddess squat facing that right edge of the mat. Toes angled out, knees angled out. Sink your hips low. Reach your hands to the sky. As you inhale, lift and straighten the legs. As you exhale, pull the hands to heart center, bend back down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, we bend down. Once more, inhale, lift. And exhale, bend down. Hold here, hands at heart center, chest open, knees wide. Sink it lower. Take one more breath, inhale. Exhale, step all the way to the top of the mat. Reach your hands up to the sky. Inhale, exhale, chair pose, hands to heart center. Knees come together as big toes touch. Lift your heels up. Slowly come to toe stand. Lower your hips onto your heels. Knees or heels stay off the ground though. I'm gonna slide away from my couch. Squeezing those inner thighs. And then start to bring the knees a little more parallel to the ground so your thighs are more parallel to the ground. And then lift your torso up so your whole torso is stacked on top of the hips. Maybe playing around with lifting the heels a little bit higher. Take an inhale. And exhale, we gently lower our seat towards the ground. Okay. Open your legs wide into a straddle position, facing whatever edge of the mat you prefer to. I'm facing the left edge, so I'm staying facing you guys. Nice and high with the torso. And then, so for me, I like to work on really shuffling my pelvis forward, and the goal is to eventually be in one straight line. That's my own personal goal. You don't have to think about getting there just yet. So I like to push my hands into the ground. Heels are nice and heavy, and then I kind of slide my hips forward, like so. And it just causes me to come a little more forward. Flex your toes nice and high and breathe here. Now, for many of us, this is a great place for a stretch already, and this feels quite intense in the body. If you're finding that in this position, you're really having to curl into the body to sustain the openness in your legs, all you're gonna do is walk your hands back and then work on trying to sit up as straight as you can. And what you should feel is a big opening through the groin and through the inner edges of the thighs. So we're trying to find that for every single one of us doing this video. So you can stay there, or if you feel like you can keep your spine long, today that's our goal, keeping a straight spine, then you can start to walk yourself forward, maybe onto elbows. And so what we play with that is when we start to round the spine, it really changes the activation in our hips and the way that we feel the stretch, where we feel it. So keep the toes flexed high, lengthening the spine forward. Some of my friends, if you can lower all the way to your chest, feel free to. And for just a few people who feel like you're a few inches away from the ground, keeping your spine straight, you can actually fully rotate forward and stack your hips up. So if you can create a straight line, if you can bring your whole body essentially parallel to the ground, then feel free to fully tilt forward. So what this variation should look like is one foot, hip, hip, another foot in one straight line. It's not a V shape with the legs. If it is a V shape and you're tilting your legs forward, come out of that variation and come back to one of the first variations I offered. Stay with it and breathe. I often get a lot of students asking about how to become more flexible and how to work on things like the splits, and at the end of the day all it takes is time, a lot of work with the body. Slowly bring yourself all the way up if you're rolled forward, and then very gently sit back, Let your spine curl if it feels so inclined to, and you can use your hands or just simply slide those legs in front of you and shake it out. Yeah, so like I was saying, face the front of the mat, we'll lie all the way down. And if you are wanting to develop that flexibility, working on it and prioritizing it just as much as you may do with strength training or any other one of your practices, hug those knees into your chest, really squeeze it in. Extend your legs up towards the sky. Stack them over top of your hips and let them be somewhat limp, so a little bit of a bend in the knees. And then for this one, I want you to find a place where they may feel weightless. So this may require a lot more of a bend in the knees. But try not to bend them all the way into the chest. And then just let them kind of float around until they feel like they are very easefully just kind of there in the air. Arms reach up to the sky. Same idea. I like to roll my shoulders back underneath me to stack the arms. Wrists limp. Just kind of let the arms float. And you can stay here as long as you'd like to today, just letting the hips kind of ground back down. You can move to the wall for legs up the wall. You can come to Shavasana, or you can just finish right here. Thanks for joining me today in this 30-minute hip opening flow, and we'll see you next video. Bye.